when you were growing up, how would you describe yourself, and how would your first, most of all, your parents describe you?
Yeah, I mean, I always say I hit the lottery, had great parents. My mom's still here. My dad I lost in a car accident 30 years ago, but
Ooh.
grew up in upstate New York in Troy. Went to public school, went to Hebrew school. Great mom and dad who really just believed in me and my brothers and also didn't overparent. If you wanted to do something, you just did it. If I wanted to go ice skating, I had to get my skates and walk to the rink. So they empowered us to be our own people, and I was always that little kid that would go to the neighbors and talk to people and, would be able to get things by talking to people, encourage them. I was always good at relationships from an early age. And my parents also taught us how to love and how to be generous. Because remember, love is learned. You don't wake up, as a little baby and know love. You learn it from your parents and your environment. And my parents walked that walk by picking up hitchhikers and buying them train, tickets to wherever they had to go and feeding people and all that stuff. They led by example. So I was really fortunate in that area. Great
I mean,
parents.
I don't know today if I could pick up a hitchhiker. Maybe like I
It's
think
a
when it was
different world today,
different,
John. It's
it
we can't
sucks.
do a lot of things. My parents, listen, we never locked the doors. We had play dates. My parents were never watching who we played with. We just went out in the neighborhood, we played, we came home for dinner, and it was that. And you got up and today everything is so micromanaged that kids don't learn their own independence, and we rob them of that.
I used to get home from school and not come back till dinner.
Same. It was
Sure.
great. You were
Yeah.
out in the world, you were playing, you were building, you were digging up worms, making forts. I mean, this is what we did. And we came home and we ate. We ate whatever my mom put on the table. It wasn't, I don't eat that. I'm gluten free. No, it was, this is what we're eating.
Yeah,
That's it. There was no like crap about, you didn't get to choose what you got to eat.
I agree.
Different world. It was a different world.
So, and it's nice to have that, and you're fortunate, and so am I. I mean, I have the same experience growing up. When you were younger,
Yeah.
because I remember mine. Like when I was in middle school, I was actually bullied. Like I had three or four kids that gave me a really hard time, and I had
About
to
what?
get
What
through.
did they, what were they bullying you about?
It was just making fun of me. It was more.
Yeah.
It was no reason except I was the person at that point in time that they were focused on. There was no real. It's not like
Yeah.
I did anything to them, but like I remember I had to deal with it, and then it was horrible. But once I got through it, I did get this like little confidence boost that I remember. I
Yeah.
remember it today, and there's I have trouble remembering last week, so it's great when you could have these experiences. What were one, two of yours that you think like molded you a little bit when you were younger?
There are a few. I mean, I wasn't bullied a lot, but there were instances where, believe it or not, it was the 70s and there, a lot of pennies thrown at me, called Jew and all that. So a lot of anti-Semitism, which I didn't understand. It swastikas on our fort. Didn't really get it. I mean, we were Jews in the community and we were proud of that. But as there is today, there was then a lot of anti-Semitism. So I kind of recognize that, okay, we're different from some people, and people are recognizing that and pointing their fingers at us. But, that was one thing. The other thing was, and I've told this story, Bella Abzug, who I'm sure you're familiar who she
Yeah.
was. She was one of the first women in the House of Representatives. She ran for mayor. She was this sort of boisterous woman who wore a hat and spoke about women and their rights. And when I was 9, my mom took me to RPI where she spoke. And she talked about being a lawyer and women and all the things that we can do. And when I listened to her, a light turned on in me. And I said to my mom, I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to do this. And I wrote it all out. I still have it. And so that sort of turned a corner for me as a little kid at 9 years old. It made me think, I want to be a voice. I want to do things to help people. And I think I can. And so that was sort of, I would say my moment, or a moment of where I recognized I was going to do something like be a lawyer and help people.
I love that. So she was your role model, right?
Yes,
Which is interesting. And isn't it amazing how we get role models from the controversies that we
of
feel?
course.
Like
Those,
mine's like Rocky and Rudy, because like I really did feel like an underdog. I still do. I feel like an underdog
me
my
too.
entire life.
Yeah.
So I gravitated towards them, and they gave me the strength in the movies to actually
Of
do a
course,
lot of
the
things.
underdog is always, the unsung hero, the one that comes from tougher circumstances, who
Yeah.
doesn't have everything, who's like scrappy and gritty. Like we kind of gravitate towards that. You do, I do, because you work a little bit harder. You don't have all those sort of comforts that other people might have growing up. And so it builds a stronger you. It's almost like a gift. At the time, you don't feel it as you're living through it, but it's a gift to have to fight for everything.
I feel if people would realize that it is the gift, and
It
like,
is.
first of all, you get through it. It still hurts, but at least there's a good outcome in theory when you're done.
Well, John, you have kids, right? You have
Yes.
children. So imagine if you just give them everything they want, and protect them from ever having to feel or fight for things. When they become adults, how are they going to function in the world or deal or do things? So today's world, almost a lot of the parenting, and it's not criticism, I see it in myself a little bit too. We rob our kids of what we had. We protect them too much because we don't want this to happen or that. It's good for them to struggle, even though it's hard for us as parents to do it. But part of love is letting them learn and
Let it
figure it
go.
out,
Let it
right?
go.